The 30-second doctor didn't sit down. He hovered near the door like someone already rehearsing bad news, hands folded, eyes avoiding the bed. The CEO, once a man whose presence filled boardrooms and bent markets, stared at the ceiling lights, counting the flicker between blinks because it hurt less than counting the weeks. 31 doctors had come and gone, each with clean shoes, careful voices, and a new theory that dissolved by morning. The machines hummed faithfully, but his body did not listen. Somewhere in the hospital, the world kept moving. Inside this room, time felt stuck, like a breath held too long. His name was Aaron Hale. People used to say it with awe. Now they said it softly. Aaron had built a company from a folding table and a borrowed laptop. He'd missed birthdays, postponed vacations, and promised himself he'd slow down once the next milestone passed. The milestones kept moving. Success stacked high, applause thundered, and then, one ordinary morning, his legs refused to cooperate. The weakness spread like fog. Tests came back interesting. Scans looked inconclusive. Words like rare, atypical, and idiopathic became a chorus. 31 experts circled the mystery. None cracked it. On the worst nights, when the lights dimmed and the corridors quieted, Aaron wondered if this was the bill finally coming due. Across town, in a second-floor apartment that smelled like instant noodles and lemon cleaner, Daniel Reyes practiced being brave in front of his kids. He was 34, a single dad with triplets, Luna, Mateo, and Sol, who had learned early how to take turns talking and how to read a room. Their mother had died 3 years ago in a way that made time feel untrustworthy. Daniel worked days at a community center and nights delivering groceries. He made pancakes shaped like dinosaurs on Sundays and sang off-key lullabies when the world felt too loud. Daniel's bravery wasn't loud. It lived in lists and routines. It lived in the way he learned to say, "We'll figure it out," without sounding like a lie. The hospital entered their lives because of a school project. Luna needed to interview someone about helpers in the community. Daniel called in favors, and the community center connected them to the children's ward. The triplets came armed with notebooks and curiosity, sneakers squeaking on polished floors. They asked nurses about patients and doctors about listening. They learned that helping was often boring, sometimes terrifying, and always human. On the last day, a volunteer coordinator asked if they'd like to deliver cards to adults who didn't get many visitors. Daniel hesitated. He worried about exposing his kids to sadness that felt heavier than crayons, but he nodded. The triplets nodded back, solemn and determined. That's how they found Aaron Hale. His room was quiet, a snow globe of wires and stillness. The triplets filed in, wide-eyed. Mateo noticed the view first, city buildings like stacked blocks. Sol noticed the machines. Luna noticed Aaron's face, alert, tired, kind in a way that didn't ask for anything. They introduced themselves in unison, then laughed because they always did that. Daniel apologized too much. Aaron smiled more than he had in weeks. They gave him a card with a drawing of a rocket labeled "Get Better So You Can Go Anywhere." Aaron felt something unclench. "Do you have a job?" Sol asked. "Practical." "I did," Aaron said. "I ran a company." Mateo frowned. "Why did you stop?" "My body told me to," Aaron replied. He meant it lightly. It landed heavy. Luna flipped open her notebook. "Can we ask you questions?" "For school?" Aaron nodded. Questions were easier than waiting. They asked what he missed. He said walking without thinking. They asked what helped. He said music and stories. They asked if he was scared. He paused. He told the truth. Then Luna asked the question, "When did it start?" She said, "And what was the very first weird thing, like the smallest one?" The room went still. Daniel felt a prickle at the back of his neck. Doctors had asked Aaron many questions. They'd charted symptoms, timelines, labs. But the way Luna asked it, smallest, weird, first, was different. It wasn't clinical. It was curious. Aaron closed his eyes. "A year ago," he said slowly. "My coffee tasted flat. Not bad. Just flat. I thought it was the beans." Mateo perked up. "Like when the TV sound goes weird before it breaks?" "Yes," Aaron said. His heart picked up. "Exactly like that." Sol leaned forward. "Did anything else change before you got weak?" Aaron searched. "I couldn't smell the rain anymore." Luna wrote furiously. "Did you tell the doctors that?" "I don't think so," Aaron said. "It didn't seem important." Daniel exhaled without meaning to. The triplets thanked Aaron and left him with the card. As they walked down the hallway, Daniel replayed the exchange. He wasn't a doctor. He was a dad who noticed patterns because he had to. "We should tell someone," he said quietly. They told a nurse. The nurse told a resident. The resident listened, really listened, and told an attending who was tired enough to be humble. A consult was called. New questions followed the old ones. Tests were reordered, not broader this time but narrower, sharper, focused on senses and nerves, on pathways that talk to taste and smell before they whisper to muscle. The answer didn't arrive like a miracle. It arrived like work. It was rare. Of course it was. A treatable autoimmune neuropathy that often hid behind bigger names. It announced itself early with subtle sensory changes, taste dulling, smell fading, before moving inward. It was missed because it didn't shout. It was missed because nobody had asked the smallest question in the right way. Treatment began with caution and hope braided together. Weeks passed. Aaron's fingers tingled, then steadied. His legs protested, then complied. The machines hummed. This time, his body listened. When Aaron took his first steps down the hallway, the triplets were there. They'd come back with another card, this one a maze with a star at the end. "Keep going," it said. He did. Recovery was not a montage. It was physical therapy and setbacks and learning patience from a body that had none. It was accepting help from people who didn't care about his resume. It was relearning humility and gratitude like a language he'd forgotten he once spoke. Aaron asked to meet Daniel alone. He wanted to say thank you without an audience. "I didn't do anything," Daniel said, uncomfortable with praise. "My kids asked a question." "That's everything," Aaron replied. "You raised them to ask it." When Aaron returned to work months later, he didn't chase the same pace. He changed policies that rewarded exhaustion. He funded a program for caregiver support. He partnered with hospitals to create patient story sessions, time carved out for listening without interruption. He insisted on a rule in meetings: before solutions, someone had to restate the problem in plain words. Like a kid explaining a maze, the press asked about the turnaround. Aaron told the truth. He talked about a single dad and 3 kids with notebooks. Daniel's life didn't transform overnight. Bills still arrived. The elevator still broke. But something shifted. The community center promoted him. Neighbors helped more. The triplets grew taller and kept asking questions about everything. One rainy afternoon, months later, Aaron stood under an awning with Daniel and the kids. Luna inhaled deeply. "I can smell the rain," she announced, delighted. Aaron smiled, breathing it in too. He could smell it now, metallic and clean, like a promise. 31 doctors had failed because the answer didn't look impressive. It looked small. It sounded like curiosity. It felt like listening. The world loves grand solutions. But sometimes, healing begins when someone asks the quiet question that makes the room go still, and then waits for the truth to answer back.